Hello, today guys we have lots of activities going on. We have the felling of trees, which I had said earlier in the video before that when you're doing this coffee farming, we shouldn't be having any trees, no shade at all. So today we have hired some people to cut off the trees, reduce them into sizes, and we sold as firewood. And that money will also be used to pay the laborers since this work in the farm has not yet finished. So after we cut the trees, we are going to do the benches, or rather the terraces. We are going to see them, and what you're able to see from there, any stumps that are within the farm are also going to be removed, because some of the stumps are on the way of the coffee holes. So what you're seeing now is where the benches have already been made, or rather tables, or rather trenches. They become very beautiful after you do the trenches. This allows controlling soil erosion and also controls the what you give space for the coffee tree to, what are they called, branches and the roots to penetrate deep inside. So that bench is where we are going to lay our mulch. Like right now I'm walking along one of the benches and you can see pegs. Where you see the pegs is where we have the holes for the coffee bushes. Yeah, you can see the pegs, and these guys are the one who are helping me in making the benches. You can see it's deep from the upstream or the upslope. It is a bit deep, and it should be sloping towards the front, not the back, because when it rains, that water where you're seeing him doing with the djembe is a bit deeper than on the edges. So the hip are more soil on the lower side, and then the upper side becomes a bit sloppy, like an angle. So when it rains, when rainwater is running down the slope, if at all it will be there, it will settle on the upper side, giving it more time to infiltrate into the soil. By the time it infiltrates, that is good for our coffee bushes. Remember, we put mulching. You remember in the hole we have a bale of hay for mulching. So all that water is going to be absorbed by that hay. Remember also, and where we have the peg, we're also going to put mulching on the top. That is a step that you are going to see after we are done with doing the benches. So after when these guys are doing the benches, they're not supposed to tamper with these pegs. That is the most careful bit, because once they remove that peg, that hole is gone. We won't remember where it was, so you're going to be forced again to dig, trying to trace it. So this part very crucial when they're doing the benches. We had my supervisor, Mr. Fixit. The fixer was going around checking that they should not tamper with the pegs. And these pegs, these holes, money was used. So once we lose the peg, we lose the hole, and again you're going to dig that hole, and that means we pay people to dig that hole. And remember, we are saving money. So you can see firewood that has already been cut. As they're doing the benches, they're carrying that firewood to the path. And then we'll have some other guys carrying that firewood towards the home compound. Since somebody else is coming with a lorry to buy the firewood or to get it. So you can see the farm is up to the downside where we have the stream. Down there is where we have the stream. So here these guys are using a string. You can clearly see the string there to measure the distance from one bench or one table or one terrace to another. And the distance from one bench to another is 4.5. Or rather, let me make it a bit clearer. You see where we have the peg. We have the peg to where the string is 4.5 on the upstream side or the upper slope side, and again on the downstream side or the down slope side is 4.5. So this means that this coffee bush has a space of 4.5 feet on the upper side and 4.5 feet on the lower side. And again, remember that the distance between one coffee bush to another or one peg to another is 9 feet. So what am I saying? I'm saying one coffee bush, the distance from one coffee bush to another, 9 feet. Then the distance from one coffee bush on the lower bench and the upper bench is again 9 feet, creating a perfect square. This is because this variety has very long branches. So when it has long branches like 9 feet, most of them go to a bit 5-6 feet. So these branches won't intertwine and it will become easy for someone to harvest without breaking the branches. So what you have seen Mr. Fixer doing it is clearing some branches, the one that has been cut by the power saw. What you can see him now is, remember the coffee bushes that we were cutting? So he's clearing some of them and they're going to become firewood, and also replacing the small pegs with a bigger peg that can clearly be seen. Because we are ferrying some of them because of the many activities that are taking place within the farm, somebody might step on the peg and then it might get lost. So he's also using the older coffee bushes to replace the small pegs. So our work today is going round, checking where we have the small pegs and then replace them with a bigger peg for fear of losing the holes. And also he's clearing the path. Remember the path that you walk up and down the farm, because the casual laborers, they were putting all the trash, all the firewood, all the whatever along the path so that they can be able to make the benches. So since they are through with the benches, now we are clearing the path to make it easy for us or the movement up and down the slope easier. And also to give way for the ones who are carrying the firewood so that they don't tamper with the benches, they just walk along the path, because carrying this firewood is a bit tedious. It's a rigorous activity and somehow they seem reckless. Once the benches are done, it's a lot of money making these benches. Once it's done, it is better to safeguard them with everything that you have. For the benches, we are paying the casuals 500 per day, and at least they are doing a marvelous job. So after a long day's work, we enjoyed ourselves with a bit of sugarcane, watching the sunset with some of my relatives, my in-laws. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from our end, and wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year ahead. Thanks for watching, family.